Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have here another 10 pens currently inked for this week. I think let's go through these briefly one by one. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail and then we'll do a writing sample. So from left to right we have the Visconti Leonardo da Vinci Machina. We have an Armando Simone Club Bologna Extra in the black and gold Lucens. We have a Visconti... Not a Visconti, Dave. We have an Armando Simone Club, and this is in the Wild West, Chassis Luxuries exclusive. We have an Onoto, and this is the Magna Carta. We have an Onoto, and this is the University of Oxford Vermeil, and we have another Onoto, and this is the British Museum pen, and this is called the Great Court Vitreous. We have a Parker made classic pen CP5 in the vintage, a Parker made classic CP5 in the modern, a Parker 130th anniversary craft of travelling, and we have a Visconti Empire. So I think let's take a look at these pens in a little bit more detail. This is a really lovely pen. It is the Visconti Leonardo da Vinci Machina, and it is a limited edition run here of 288. I got 112 of 288, so it is a very limited edition run. I really do like this Acro Silk resin that Visconti use here. They used it on the Medici as well. It has a lot of Leonardo da Vinci sort of scrimshaw drawings here on the body. Some writing as well. It's meticulously done. You also have Leonardo da Vinci's signature there as well. Really quite a captivating pen. It is a power vac filling pen. It is a hook safe lock mechanism, a concave section, a number 6 size, and that is an 18 karat gold medium nib. I do find that this is a really good size in my hand. I can post the cap if I want to, but this clip is quite heavy, so it does make the pen a little bit back weighted. But if you wanted to post this, if you are a person that really has to post your caps, then you can do so with that pen. The next pen inked up is an Armando Simone Club Bologna Extra, and this is the black Lucens, or as I call it, the black and gold Lucens. It has this really sort of like captivating, sort of semi-transparent or translucent sort of material here, where you can see through the body there. Very nice. I believe it's celluloid, might be cellulose acetate. But I believe it is celluloid. It is, the filling mechanism on here is a vintage style sack. It's a pneumatic filling mechanism. If I unscrew the cap, you get a whopping number 8 size ASC nib there, made by Bock with an ebonite feed. It holds a fair amount of ink, the sack. Although I do find I write through these really quickly because they are very wet. The cap is not designed to be posted. The threads on here are a little bit sharp with the section quite short, so you do feel those threads. Why do I like the pen in that case? Well, I like it because the size and the weight, the girth of the pen, and how wet that pen will write. It writes very, very wet, and I think I have about 8 ASC Bologna Extras in my collection, and I just love how they write. I find a wet writing nib, and again this is another one, will write not only very wet, but it will also allow the nib to glide over the page. You also get less hard starts and skips. It's just a perfect combination. Although if you're writing in a notebook, then you're going to have to wait a long time before you can actually turn the page, and you might get a bit of ghosting as well. This is another Armado Simone Club Bologna Extra. This is the Wild West that you can see there, hopefully. It's got Wild West engraved on the cap band. This was a Chatterley exclusive. I like the striated sort of blue and red here. It just spoke to me, and I knew when I saw this I would have to buy it. Got it for a pretty good price. Bryant doesn't overcharge for his pens. There are some pens that are a little bit more overpriced, but sometimes that's because they're on consignment, and he's obviously selling it on behalf of somebody else. This has a number 8 size ASC Bologna nib with an ebonite feed. Again, pneumatic filling system here, and this still holds a lot of ink. Again, you can't post the cap on this one. It's not designed to be posted. The issue with vintage sacks, and I've had one at least fail on me, is that they will fail over time. You could argue the same with a cartridge converter pen, that a cartridge converter, many people have had a converter fail on them. But with a converter, you can just unplug it and you can buy another one, and then you can plug it back in. With these, you typically have to, unless you can do it yourself, you have to send these off, and you'll have to get a vintage person to repair or actually replace that sack. So it's a little bit more of a repair cycle to be able to replace those sacks. The next pen inked up today, it's a pen I've not written with for a while now. It's the Onoto, it's the Magna Carta. I'm getting a nice tarnish here on that clip. The Magna Carta is a beautiful pen. I think I'd had a bunch of Onotos before the Magna Carta, but this was the one that I wanted, and I really wanted it because I knew that I wouldn't afford, not couldn't, but wouldn't afford the Rosetta Stone. And then within a year, a Rosetta Stone presented itself to me, and I got it for a good price. So I ended up with both the Magna Carta and the Rosetta Stone. You've got the Magna Carta, some of the inscription here in the body, in the cap, and then likewise in the body with the coat of arms as well. Beautiful pen. I like it a lot. It is sterling silver. You've got a number 7 size Onoto 18 karat gold fine nib on this one. And if I unscrew, you can see there it is a cartridge converter. I will be re-inking this one up. The cap, again, is not designed to be posted on this. It would be massively back weighted because this is a very heavy pen. And when I say heavy, I'm talking about around 90 to 95 grams in weight. So this is it total with the cap. It is a heavy pen because it is sterling silver. So you have to bear that in mind. The next pen inked up is the Onoto, and this is a very beautiful University of Oxford, and I like this pen a lot. I kind of didn't want it in gold. I would have preferred it in silver, but I got this for an insane price at the time. So glad that I picked this up. It was, I want to say second hand, but it was never inked. So it was just a collector that had bought it. It's got an Onoto 18 karat gold number 7 size nib there. And there's a little bit of nib creep there. You can see the crustiness of the brown ink that I've inked this one up with. And if I unscrew the body, you'll see that converter is actually empty. So again, this is going to be another one I'm going to have to re-ink today. I'm just going to wipe that feed off a little bit there. But that is a nice pen, so I will be inking that one back up again this week to be writing with. And that is, I think, a fine nib on that one. And then we've got this one, and it's the Onoto, it's the British Museum Great Court Vitreous. Very beautiful pen, enamelled. you cannot feel the pattern, the guilloche on this because of the enamel over the top, but it's a sterling silver pen as well. And again, this is just a pen that I really love. A number 7 size Onoto 18 karat gold, fine nib there. And if I unscrew the body, you can see there, it's just still inked. I'm gonna probably have to re-ink it again. Again, this is another pen that you can't post the cap on. Sterling silver, it's going to be, again, 90 to 95 grams. I think most of these ones from Onoto come in around about 92 to 95 grams. They are heavy pens, so you are not going to want to be posting that cap unless you have a very, very strong hand. On to the next 3 or 4 pens, really. These are shorter pens. This is a classic pen CP5 made by Parker there for Andy Lambrou of Classic Pens. And this is a CP5 in the vintage. And if I unscrew this, you can see, wipe off that nib a little bit there. It is an 18 karat gold nib, and it is a medium nib. It is a cartridge converter pen. The difference with this is you can post the cap if you want to, but like I said, this is going to be back weighted. It is sterling silver, so it's not as heavy as the Onotos, but it's not far off, and that is still quite a heavy pen there. So I have that one inked up, and again, another classic pen CP5 made by Parker for Andy Lambrou. This again is a beautiful version. It's the modern version, and if I unscrew the cap again, you've got number 6 size Parker 18 karat gold medium nib there with an ebonite feed. Again, cartridge converter. And yes, I can post that cap, but it is very back weighted. This is how the pen wants to sit in my hand. It's very back weighted, being sterling silver. So again, I wouldn't post caps on sterling silver, solid sterling silver pens. If it was an overlay, yes, I think that's fine. It's going to be easier to post if it is postable in terms of the weight in your hand. But if it's a sterling silver, solid sterling silver pen, then I would not post that cap. Same if it was a brass pen as well. The next pen is a Parker 130th anniversary, and this has a lapis lazuli stone here in the cap finial, and it's the 130th anniversary Craft of Travelling. Comes in a Paddington Bear style suitcase, a massive box essentially, or a suitcase inside a box, and I like the pen a lot. Like a lot of the Parkers, I wish they were slightly longer, but these are the centennial size pens. You've got the Craft of Travelling engraving on the nib there with the compass, and if I unscrew this, I do find this is stiff to unscrew to start with because there is an O-ring there, and you have a cartridge converter. The threads being metal, you're not going to be able to eyedropper this pen, and that's perfectly fine. I wouldn't eyedropper that, but those threads there, it's not the threads, it's actually that O-ring, and I have that on a number of Parkers. It does get quite tight over time. I think it might just be a little bit of wear and tear on the O-ring, but they typically are not tight out of the box. Can I post this cap? Yes, I can. It's not a sterling silver or a brass sterling or sort of solid brass cap, so it's not back weighted, so that's perfectly fine, and I would, if I wanted to, post that cap. So I have that one inked up this week as well. And last but not least, we have the Visconti Empire. And it's difficult to tell on camera, but this is the gold vermeil version. There is a sterling silver overlay, but this is a wonderful pen. It's a Paravac. I think it's a double reservoir. Yeah, it's a double reservoir. And how do I know that? You've got an ink window down here. And it's got a number 6 size Visconti 18 karat gold fine nib, and this is before Visconti moved to the 23 karat palladium, and then they moved back to the 18 karat gold nibs again. So this is the older 18 karat gold nibs. It really is a wonderful nib, and I found that with a lot of the original Visconti nibs, that they were really, really good writing nibs. And a lot of people hated on the 23 karat palladium nibs because some were bouncy, some were stiff, some were wet, some were dry. And a lot of people would complain that there were consistency issues. And yes, there were some inconsistencies there. They weren't all tuned to be exactly the same, but honestly, I didn't have that many issues, and I still love most of my 23 karat palladium nibs. So there you have it. That's my 10 pens currently inked for this week. I think let's now go do a writing sample. So the first pen inked up this week is the Visconti Leonardo da Vinci Machina. So I think let's do an ink swatch here. And you'll just see that this is a very nice writing nib. No hard starts or skips. A little bit of feedback to it. So this is the Visconti Leonardo da Vinci Machina. It's a medium and it's an 18 karat gold nib, but writes a little bit closer to a fine nib, but I don't mind that. I don't mind fine nibs if they write really nicely. And then the ink in here today is Akerman SBRE Brown. And I seem to recall that when I did get this pen, it didn't write as nice. The nib did cut paper a little bit. I did have to, the tines were slightly misaligned, and I did have to align it, but now it writes perfectly. The next pen inked up is Yamato Ceremony Club Bologna Extra Black and Gold Lucens. So we'll do an ink swatch here, and you'll see that this is a very wet writing nib, quite a broad writing nib. I love the Bologna Extras because of the wetness, the broadness, and that they also have quite a bit of flex in them. So this is the ASC Bologna Extra, and it's the black and gold Lucens. Now this nib does sing a little bit on Oxford optic paper. It doesn't on Tomoe River. And the nib is, technically it's a medium, but they all write more of a broad. And it's an 18 karat gold nib. And the ink in here today is Robert Oster Gold Antiqua. I have used Pilot Wash Shizuka in a hoe before. I typically swap between those two inks in that pen. The next pen inked up is the Armando Simone Club Bologna Extra, and this is the Wild West. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And again, this is again a wet writing nib. It's got a bit of bounce to it as well, which is what I like. So this is the ASC Bologna Extra, and it is the Wild West, which is a Chatterley Luxuries exclusive. And this is, again, is it a medium? Yeah, bordering on a broad. It's an 18 karat gold nib. And then the ink in here today is, let me double check, Diamine Poppy Red. I remember I had a blue ink in here for a while, and it took me quite a bit of time to get the blue ink out and just get the red ink showing again. But I now typically ink that one up with red ink. The next pen inked up is the Onoto, and this is the Sterling Silver Magna Carta. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And although this is a fine nib, I do find it writes quite nicely. So this is the Onoto, and it is the Magna Carta. It's fine, and it's an 18 karat gold nib. The ink in here is Diamine Earl Grey, but that is an ink that I like writing with, and I've tried, I think, in some of these pens different grey inks, and I've always preferred that one instead. The next pen inked up is the Onoto University of Oxford Vermeil. So we'll do an ink swatch. And you can see that this is, again, a bit of a fine nib, not a solid extra fine. And I'm just looking here to see if I can double check. And I think the issue here is that I was just having a look. I think this is a fine nib, but because it's an older Onoto nib, not Visconti nib, an older Onoto nib, you do not get the nib width on here. But this is an Onoto University of Oxford Vermeil, and I'm going to say it's a fine 18 karat gold nib, and then the ink in here is Akerman SBRE Brown. But you can see the difference between these two colours here. Quite a difference there in how the orange sort of comes out a little bit, maybe a little bit more in this one, I guess. The next pen inked up is the Onoto British Museum Great Court Vitreous. So we'll do an ink swatch here as well. And this is a fine nib as well. I didn't get the choice on this nib. So this is the Onoto, and it is the British Museum. Great Court. Vitreous. And it's a fine, and it's an 18 karat gold nib. And the ink in here today is Venustus Aqua di Spargi. Sometimes I do put Visconti Turquoise in there, but this is Aqua di Spargi. The next pen inked up is the classic pen CP5, made by Parker. This is the vintage. Again, we'll do an ink swatch. And this is it's a nice writing pen, but I typically find though that Parker's could write a little bit wetter. So this is the classic pens CP5. And it's the vintage, and it's a medium, and it's an 18 karat gold nib. The other issue I find with Parker nibs are they are very rigid. There's no give in the nibs. The ink in here is Diamine Earl Grey, which is an ink that I don't always put in the vintage, but I have got it in there this time round. The next pen inked up is the classic pen CP5 in the modern. And we'll do an ink swatch here. And I do find that this one writes a little bit better, a little bit wetter, a little bit wider as well. So this is the classic pens CP5 in the modern, in a medium 18 cat gold nib, and again the ink in here is Diamine Earl Grey. But you can see the difference there between how both of those pens write. One's a little bit more drier and narrower, and one's a little bit more wider and wetter. The next pen inked up is the Parker 130th Anniversary Duofold, and this is the Craft of Travelling. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And again, very rigid nibs from Parker. It's fine if you like a rigid nib. So this is the Parker 130th Anniversary. And it's the Craft of Travelling, but I'll just call it Travel, otherwise I'll run out of space. And this is a fine, and it's an 18 cat gold nib. I didn't get the choice of nib on this one. And then the ink in here is Pelican Edelstein Golden Lapis. And I really do think that Golden Lapis is very much like Pelican Edelstein Topaz, just with a little bit of gold shimmer. And I say a little bit because there really isn't a lot in there. And then the last pen inked up is the Visconti Empire. So we'll do an ink swatch here as well. But this nib just writes wet and very, very beautiful. Slight bounce to the nib there. So this is the Visconti Empire. And it is a fine 18 cat gold nib. And the ink in here is Visconti Turquoise. But I just love how that nib writes, and I really enjoy writing with that pen. It's for me, it's the combination of wetness of ink, the combination of a bouncy nib. It just is perfect for me. So I think let's now take a look at these pens inked up one more time. We've got a Visconti, and this is a Leonardo da Vinci Machina in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Akamon SBRE Brown. We have an Armando Simone Club Bologna Extra Black and Gold Lucens in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Robert Oster Gold Antiqua. We have an Armando Simone Club Bologna Extra Wild West in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Diamine Poppy Red. We have an Onoto Magna Carta in a fine 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Diamine Earl Grey. We have an Onoto University of Oxford Vermeil in a fine 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Akamon SBRE Brown. We have an Onoto British Museum Great Court Vitreous in a fine 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Venustus Aqua di Spargi. We have a classic pen CP5 Vintage in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Diamine Earl Grey. We have another classic pens CP5 in the modern in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Diamine Earl Grey. We have a Parker 130th Anniversary Craft of Travelling in a fine 18 karat gold nib inked up with Pelican, Edelstein, Golden Lapis. And then last but not least, we have a Visconti Empire in a fine 18 karat gold nib inked up with Visconti Turquoise. So there you have it. That's my 10 pens currently inked for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.